Now all you people, I want you to set those headphones down. Get up. I said get up off your chairs and sing it with me one time. One time. It don't cost nothing, but you feel real good. But here we go. It's the Humpday happy hour hangout. Yes, it's the Humpday happy hour hangout. Oh yes, let's all get used at the director's garage.
So good. So good. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout here at the Director's Garage 4-H Club. Noble Apollo using a wire. This is something I did not know when I did the unboxing. And this is something I learned at CanJam from Jim Moulton. I should say. Jim pointed out that these things were tuned with a wire. They don't need to be on to work. So these things are playing music and they're not turned on. And that's how these things were actually built and tuned. They added the electronics after the fact, which I think is really cool. So one of the ways I'm going to be looking at the review is what does it sound like on a wire? This is important. It's important to know how they actually designed this thing to work. Really cool stuff. So cheers, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. And I'm working on this review. I've already started writing it. And that review will be out after the next episode is going to look a lot like today's episode, but it's going to be fancier and with a lot more, production. Today we're going to talk about my experience at CanJam SoCal, where I saw a bunch of you guys. Y'all came up and tapped me on the shoulder. I was wearing a different t-shirt. This is my Shure swag t-shirt. This M57. This is a workhorse microphone. This thing has been around for 1,000 years. Yeah, I saw all you guys over at CanJam, and a bunch of people came up, said hello, wanted to, shake my hand, say hello. And it was really cool to meet everybody. Really cool to see everybody again. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I got a lot of info. We're going to talk about some of this. And I even got a commitment. This is for you Patreon folks. A commitment from Audeze to come on the Patreon show. So in an upcoming episode, I'm hoping it's going to be the October one, we're going to get Audeze to come on and talk about what was one of the highlights of CanJam SoCal, which is the brand new Audeze Carbon 2. This is the Carbon 1. And we'll get into that. We're going to get into that just momentarily. I'll talk about it in a second. I'm just kind of letting a couple people come in. Well, it looks like we got a whole galley of people today. Hey, cheers, everybody. We got a bunch of people in the house. Awesome. I hope you all have a beverage out because we're going to talk about CanJam SoCal, and I'm going to share some of my impressions. So let's just get into it because we got a lot of people here. So why not? I can do this visually because I took a bunch of photos. Some of these have been on HeadFi. I posted them, but not everybody goes over there and reads the thread. So let's see. How do we do this? We're going to go to MacBook Pro. I had prearranged, I was going to see a bunch of people there. A lot of them were Patreon folks. Neil Snyder was there, Jonathan Liu, Hipster Cow, all these great guys that hang out with me normally. And then I met a bunch of folks that they're like, hey, remember me? I'm like, yeah, of course. So it was great to see everybody, and I went to dinner later on with Neil Snyder. He was gracious enough to take a bunch of us out for dinner, which was very appreciated, especially on my budget right now. Get into that in a minute. It was a great time. So I got to CanJam right around the time it opened. I had to find the right line. I was in the wrong line, all that stuff you'd normally go to. I could have gotten a press pass, but I paid because when you see the effort that went into getting all of those booths set up, and getting all of the people arranged and all the seminars they were putting on. I didn't even check out the seminars. But when you see the work that went into it, I'm like, how do I not pay them $40 to walk around this place? I could have. They even said, we'll give you a press pass. You do a YouTube. I'm like, they've earned $40. Even in my financial state, I'm like, this is an astronomical undertaking to get all of these people here organized and set up on time, and headphones flowing music like crazy out of 100,000 different amps. I mean, it was crazy. It was a huge CanJam, folks. So I got to turn the air conditioning on here. It's getting a little warm. So I was crazy impressed by it, and happily paid an admission fee. Didn't blink about it. My first stop was Audeze. The Carbon 2, I was afraid that it was going to be, boy, it came out and there was a lot of buzz about it, and I really wanted to hear what the update to this sounded like. So I beelined it there, which was a fatal mistake in another regard. I'll get to that in a minute. And this is the Audeze Carbon 2. And if you haven't been to the website or haven't seen or anything, this is the Audeze Carbon 2, which looks like this one. Looks like the Carbon 1, and I think it's the same size, but man, I'm telling you, holding them, they seem bigger, like the cups were bigger, but I don't think they are. I think I saw a spec sheet and they're the same size. But they're all gold. They've got all this gold stuff here. See all this gold right here? And then they've got gold trim and gold posts. So they've kind of like, revised it a little bit in the looks department. But it's got this thing called SLAM technology, which is the most ridiculous reverse engineered acronym ever. It's like, how do we make it say SLAM? Because the point of this headphone that they're saying is they found a way to give an electrostatic serious bass movement. Like you can feel the pressure on your ears when the bass, when the drivers move and deliver bass. And I will say, putting them on, yeah, I got that effect. And it was neat. Is it like slam, like, I don't know, LCD-4 slam? No. It's not that. It's not a BIS 1266 like where your whole head vibrates from the sound of these things. But they sounded really good. My notes were that it seemed like it was slam light, formidable bass though. Formidable bass. Like, and I can't wait. And I was listening to it on the LTA, and it was married to the Dave, which is kind of a bright-ish setup if I'm thinking it through right. So, yeah, I was like, I don't know if it was the greatest source chain for that headphone, but it was a touch on the bright side, and I'm going to chalk that up to the signal chain. They sounded faster to me. Sorry, I'm trying to see around my microphone to see the notes. They sounded faster to me. Their stage seemed a little better. About the same, maybe. They still do the popping thing. I call them stacks farts. It still does that. Not to the degree that this one does still to this day, even after their upgrade. But it does pop a little bit. There's still some of that there. And I said the cups seem bigger to me, but I don't think they actually are. It just, for whatever reason, I was like, these things feel massive to me. I thought that in the demo that I heard, the jazz music that I auditioned sounded better than the rock music. So that tells you something about the speed and the clarity. But before I left there, two things happened. One thing happened. I talked to an Audeze rep at length. And this is one of the guys I met when I went down to their factory a few years ago. And I don't know if he probably didn't remember me, but, and I don't blame him, this face. But I talked to him first of all, I talked to him about an upgrade path. There will be an upgrade path for this headphone. And I am already on the list. I did the thing with the rep. He asked me for the serial number, wanted to see my product card, all that kind of crap. And I sent it in to them. I am on the list to get the Carbon 2 upgrade from this Carbon 1. And this is being done for people who were early adopters. I don't know that you're going to be able, I would check with them. My first thought when I saw it, because it's only $1,000 to do the upgrade, guys. $1,000. It's a $6,000 headphone. $1,000 to upgrade a Carbon 1 to a Carbon 2. So the people who are out there going, oh, I'm going to go buy a Carbon 1 on HeadFi, and then just pay the $1,000 to get it upgraded. I'll probably get it $3,000. I'll have a Carbon 2. Check with Audeze first. Don't just go out there and do that. Don't do that. Don't just do that, because they may be looking at sales dates and say and have a cutoff or something. I don't know how the program is working. I did qualify because I was an early adopter of the Carbon 2, and I was stupid enough to pay the money, and these things are selling so cheap right now. It's amazing, and they still sound good. They're one of the best electrostats on the market. They're, without question, to me anyway. But you can, but just check on that before. And upgrades will happen starting in December. So they're going to come out on the market first. They're going to start filling orders, and then later on in December, which is fine with me because I don't really have the money anyway. And hopefully by then I'll be working, fingers crossed. But you're going to be able to get your upgrade starting in December on your Audeze Carbon 1 to Carbon 2. Get all the latest driver, the whole thing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Can't wait about that. Now, the other thing I asked him about, and this is something I want to get, this is another reason I want to get Audeze into the Hangout, the Patreon thing. I asked him about the Sony takeover, because I didn't really get a chance to talk to him last year, and I regret that, but this year I did. I got him cornered. I held a gun to their head and I said, tell me what you know. No, I asked them if they, how are they finding having Sony, running the show basically, or funding them, or, as an overlord or a landlord or whatever. And they told me, first of all, I said, obviously you've released the Maxwell and the MM series. Those are kind of consumer lane stuff, and I would expect you to do that for Sony. I would think that's why they wanted the company to get some quality headphones for their PlayStation and things like that. And he said, no, absolutely not. He said, no. He goes, the funny thing is like Sony bought us and they've been ridiculously hands off. They've just let us do our thing. They're happy with what we're doing, and they said, we're kind of like a stepchild to them. They're not really paying attention to us that much. They just bought the asset and they bought the company, and they're pretty much hands off. That surprised me. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, this is what the guy's telling me, and he is senior. I've met him before. But he's like, no, absolutely. They've been like leaving us alone. The other piece of information I heard, and this is going to make you guys really happy, the next year they will have a new flagship. I'm dropping, that's an exclusive. I don't think they've told anybody else that I know of. Next year, Audeze is going to have a new flagship. Didn't tell me anything about the model number. I don't know if it'll be an LCD6, an LCD5 Mark II, whatever it's going to be. Maybe it's something else entirely. But they told me a new flagship is in the works. It'll be out next year. Don't know when he did that, but that's what he told me. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm thrilled about that news because I thought that, you know, they're under Sony. We're not going to see them doing this as much. You know, like on the high end, we're going to get a lot of consumer products out of them. But this is a shot across the bow. Nobody expected this to be coming out. And this is awesome. I mean, you know, this is a worthy, I can tell you this, it's a worthy upgrade to the existing Carbon. That was clear to me. And I spent enough time with these to know, I think. And so I'm excited about that. And that was just a thrill. That was just a thrill. Really enjoyed that. Okay. Let's see. So my next stop was, I wanted to hear this headphone right here. You may have heard of this headphone. Fellas, that's the Sapphire unveiled. That's my photo of the Sapphire unveiled. I went to the HiFiman table. Yeah, I saw the HE-1000, the thing that I thought was a scam or something, a hoax last week. And yes, the HE-1000 unveiled looks ridiculous. I mean, it looks silly. In person, it looks just as silly as it looks in the photos. But this is the Sapphire unveiled. And I went in, I was ready to bash the crap out of this thing. I thought that this was, I'm just ready to go. You know, I've got the Sapphire 1. Sapphire 1 is one of the best headphones ever made in the history of headphones. Might still be the best headphone ever made. Who knows? Depending on where your opinion. I think it's to the point where it is opinion. And so, you know, you come out with this thing with a driver that is completely exposed. And we've seen on HeadFi photos of people dropping these things and punching a hole in the side of them because there's no grill. So I went in there just ready to go. If this thing is, you know, I'm ready to tear into it because I was ready to. I loved him. I mean, I put him on. It's disgraceful. It's shaming. I feel depressed on some level. It was emasculating. I wanted to hate this headphone with every fiber of my being. It's great. I mean, it's great. It was, from the second I put it on, I went, damn. Damn. That sounds fantastic. Fan-frickin-tastic. And it's easier to drive. No words, fellas. It was a complete shaming moment. I just felt like I was deflated. I wanted to hate that headphone. I wanted to hate this headphone with every, you know, and just lay into it and go, $8,000, you get less material, you got a driver that's sitting right out there ready to get ripped up, and you know, they made a marginal gain on something. No, it's a good headphone. It's a really good headphone. And I gotta eat my words, and I've got to tip my hat to HiFiman. I did, regrettably. I still think it's a really bad idea. It's a headphone that I don't want to own. With the way I drop shit around here and the way that I've got like exposed corners on gear, on amplifiers and rigs and stuff, it's an accident waiting to happen. I firmly believe that. You know, it's, for me, it's a matter of time before I destroy the thing. And maybe, you know, but until then, it's a great headphone, fellas. It was one of the best, if not the best thing I heard today. On Saturday. It was that good. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. I thought it was amazing, and I hated myself with every fiber of my being for saying that. So it's still early in the morning, and I thought, you know, this is the year. This is definitely the year I'm going to finally get into that stupid Warwick Acoustics Cone of Silence. I got that new Apiro with the golden sound sauce on it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'll just head over there. There can't be a line this early, and yeah, no. Maybe next year, guys. I'm never getting in that booth. I am never getting in that booth. It's just not, I mean, look how cool this is. That guy in there, that guy right there, where is he? Right here? This guy's having the time of his life. He's having a good day. He's enjoying his life. All these people lined all the way down this row here, these people are miserable. They're not happy. And there's Golden Sound right there too, Cameron. But I'm like, this guy here is having the time of his life, and all these people are screwed. And I wasn't going to wait an hour. I got too much to do. I got too many friends I want to see. It was not good. I walked away just really shamed. Warwick, if you're out there and you happen to see this video, call me. Send me the Apiro. I just want to hear it. I just want to hear this stuff. It looks great. It looks great. A lot of people rave about it. Not happening. I don't have patience to sit in lines like that. Anything longer than there was one moment I'll talk about the Raal a little bit later, because I finally heard the new Raal Immanis. I'll tell you my impressions of that. But I was trying to get a second listen to them because they had it set up in the room on a Felix Envy was the amp driving it, and they put the little transcoder thing in the middle. I was waiting in line there, and I was standing there. I was talking to, I think it was Jonathan. Was Jonathan with me? I think it was Jonathan with me, Jonathan Liu. And Jonathan said, oh, he's going to get off. I just went, my button popped up. After 20 minutes or so, or 15 minutes, I'm just like, I was done. I'm done. I'm walking away. But he's getting up. Nope. Nope. Once that button pops up, I'm out. So I just went and did something else. But one of the things I did before then, and I'll get to the Immanis in a bit, but I stopped at Fostex because, I'm a big Fostex fan. I have in this play, I've had a bunch of Fostex headphones in the past, and I'm a huge fan of that TH-X, the Fostex TH-X00 collabs that they did with Massdrop back in the day. Like one of the most satisfying bass experiences is the TH-X00 Purple Heart. And I have owned the Mahogany, the Purple Heart, and I still have the Ebony here too, which is probably the fastest of the three and kind of the most audiophile maybe, but nothing beats that Purple Heart. It's the best thing on the planet. I'll never give that headphone up. I love it. I've worn the pads out. It's one of the few headphones I've actually worn. I've had them so long and worn them so much, the pads are gone. And I've got to figure out what the pads are that I bought for them. They're a thick ZMF, and I don't remember which one it is. I'll have to show it to Zach, and he can maybe tell me which one I bought. But I need to replace. I got to find replacement pads for them because they're just shredded, just from use, and they've been around for so long. So I got to replace those. But I'm a huge fan of Fostex, and when I saw that they came out with a planer, which is the TH-1100 and TH-1000. This is the 1000, I think. It's the no, it's the 1100. This is the open back TH-1000 RP, and then the TH-1100 RP is the closed. So this is the TH-1000 RP. And what this photo doesn't reveal, it's a pretty good photo, but what it doesn't reveal, these cups were insane in person. The process that they used to stain and dye these cups, and you know Fostex cups. You know that TH-900 is just magical with that lacquered finish on it that they use on pens and stuff, like really high-end furniture, Japanese furniture. This is another one of those processes, and I was blown away. I thought these were so pretty. And then the other one, the next one was this one. This is the closeback, the TH-1100 RP closed. And what I was hoping for was like a Caldera version of the TH-X900 or TH-900. The biocellulose driver, amazing, slammy, deep bass, crushing. It wasn't any of that. No. Unfortunately, it sounds like, I mean, it's in the sort of Caldera lane, but it's nowhere near. It's not as fast, but it had good detail. There wasn't a lot of bass punch. It was fine, but they were pretty to look at. I didn't think there was anything remarkable about them. I was hoping that they were going to bring that Fostex house sound into this headphone. But I will say this, these things were a joy to hold in your hand and to look at. One of the best finishes of any headphone I've seen, including some of Zach's work, which is so good at ZMF. These were spectacular. It was a great finish, satin finish, beautiful to hold, beautiful to wear, felt good. It just wasn't like the sound wasn't bad. It just wasn't. It didn't stand out. You know what I mean? When I heard the Apollo, I was like, oh, here is a Bluetooth headphone that's got a shit ton of bass, and it really, you know, it's making a mark. It's finding its own place, and it's at a price point that, you know, makes it extremely competitive if you're looking at other Bluetooth over-ears in the premium end. This was kind of like a good planer, but, you know, you're in the same area as 100 other planar. I would look at the HiFiman personally if I'm looking at a planar, not the unveiled, but I would look at like the the TH-1000 SE or, you know, whatever, something like that. You'd be in better shape, I think, overall, personally. Because there was nothing remarkable about this headphone other than the looks. And if you like the looks and you just want to buy them for the looks, hey, go at it, your money. What do I care? Next up was FoKal. Because I kind of did a whole loop around, and FoKal was sort of the last thing before you leave the room. And I got a chance to listen to these. Now, these have been out a while. These are the FoKal Utopia 2022. Thing that impressed me about these, I love that they kept the red to keep an homage to the past. Overall, I think this headphone's kind of ugly. I think they really took away the class and the grace of the FoKal Utopia and sort of did a Dark Knight thing on it that didn't work for me. I don't think these are particularly pretty. I think they look plastic, even if they aren't plastic. That said, you know, it is about the music after all, and I did wear these, and I will say they improved the bass on the Utopia by a long shot. It's a huge upgrade in the bass. A lot more texture in the bass, a lot more bass presence too. Very impressed with the Utopia 2022. They did not solve the brightness though. It's still a bright headphone. And for that, it's not going to be for me because I'm very sensitive to brightness. And so, but I thought it was a great upgrade to the original Utopia, and it was pretty good. It impressed me. I wasn't expecting to like them as much as I did. So good job, FoKal. And I just don't like the design. I think they just wrecked the headphone in the looks department. The old design was just awesome. It was just a classic. It was a timeless design, and this just feels like a cheapened version of it to me for some reason. Everybody has their own tastes. I'm not saying I'm right, but I am. No, I'm just kidding. But connected to the FoKal, this was really cool, was the name Streamer. This thing's really cool. I got a chance to mess around. Now, I was having some problems with the Wi-Fi, or they were having problems with the Wi-Fi. They couldn't get this thing to stream right. So it kept sort of resetting itself, and it would play like a section of the song, and then it would pause and freeze. And but I did mess around with this unit a little bit. This whole thing on top here, right here, this is the volume knob. This is the massive volume knob. It's almost half the size of the top cover. Fantastic. So clever, so fun. I'm like, if I was standing there and I just wanted to, you know, or I got a desktop and I've got my streamer right here, that would be something I'd love to have on the desktop. I could see, because you got the big volume knob up there, you can just kind of twist it, and it's got buttons on the front. I don't know if it's a touch screen or not. I didn't get that deep into it, but I thought this was cool. I thought this was really cool. I left going, wow, if I had unlimited funds, which I clearly don't, that would be something I'd be interested in. So very cool there. I'm going to have so much chat to get back to. Holy cow. So I left the main hall at that point, and I went over to ZMF. ZMF Zach has become really close friend of mine. And I kind of helped get Zach in touch with Ray Samuels. You guys should know that Zach had the B-21 Raider there. That's something that Ray set up live on our show. So we kind of we told you guys first, we were one of the few people who knew about this, that the B-21 Raider was going to be at the show. And but Zach had a hell of a room set up, man. He had everything there. I mean, he had a bunch of Aegis amps, which I reviewed on this show. I hope a bunch of you got to sit down with that Aegis. Such a good amp. And then there was a Cayin, a brand new Cayin amp there. Huge tube amp. I mean, I'm guessing it was $8,000. I don't know what it cost, but it was way up there. Phenomenal. And I got a chance to listen to that a little bit. But the thing that I went to see was this headphone right here. This is the FoKal Bokeh, or Bokeh, depending on how you say it. I say Bokeh, but apparently Zach says there are some people who say Bokeh is the proper pronunciation. Whatever it is, it's the Bokeh Openback. And this is not released yet. Not released yet. This will be coming out probably end of the month or early November. But he did have 2 or 3 different production versions. This is a stabilized model. It will have a grill similar to this, if not this one. He's going to pick 2 different grills out for the ear cups, depending on which model you buy, what wood combo you get, and he's going to pair them. So he's going to have 2 different grills to put on these, and this was definitely a highlight, a massive highlight for me. This headphone sounds a lot like the Atrium. And the Atrium is getting rave reviews from people who completely disagree with me on stuff a lot of the time. And there's a general consensus that the Atrium is a short list for the best headphone out there, because it just does everything well and it's easy to drive. It is high impedance, so you got to be able to deal with that. And it sounds really good under high impedance if you're driving it properly. It gets better, and you got to have the right pads on them. But the Atrium is great. This is a sister to the Atrium at under $1,000. This thing is fantastic, and I paired it with this little homage amp. This is Zach's other new amp that he came out with this year. You know, the Atrium got all the highlights because it's the $3,500 flagship. This is a $1,200 amp, and you can buy them with all sorts of different faceplates. This one is kind of a green marbled kind of look, but it's got all this retro vibes to it, with the micro switches and stuff. Fantastic pairing. And I left there. I listened to this for probably 10 minutes or so. It was probably less than that, but I want to say 10 minutes because it felt like 10 minutes. And I thought I could buy that amp and this headphone, and for around $2,000, I would have a near end game setup. Like it could be end game for somebody. If what you had was $2,000, these two, this combination right here, the bokeh open, and I like these better than the bokeh closed. I think these added something. There is something special going on with this headphone. I think it's fantastic. It's one of the best Zach's done in a long string of successes. As you know, I'm a huge fanboy, but this is one of the best, and it also happens to be one of the cheapest. And I would encourage you to hear this headphone, if nothing else. I was crazy impressed, and I thought, wow, that little amp there and this headphone, I could be very happy. I would be a very happy human and getting a lot out of it. So really impressed. I was really impressed with that, and I was even impressed by the little amp. And I'm like, I could do that. That would be something that I would love to do. Oh, this is the, I forgot I had this in here. This is the KN amp that I listened to. That was there. It was sitting next to the B21 Raider. And I don't know the model number. I didn't write all this. Is it on here? I don't know. It says 270 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what it says. But this is the KN amp I listened to. And this is a new amp, he said. It's fairly new to the market from KN, but it was beautiful. Sounded great. No complaints. Very nice. Where else are we now? Let's go. Oh, so now it's getting a little later in the day. And I wanted to hear the Immanis from Raal. So I went to this room. This is the Viva room. They had a separate room off to the side, and there were only like 3 systems in there. They did not have it packed with people, and I was surprised that I think they might have been having some technical problems with the server or something, but I just hung out for about 15 minutes, and the guy who was sitting there finally, left, and I got a chance to sit down. This Viva, I heard this amp last year with my Caldera, and it was paired with a reel-to-reel deck. It was a red one last year, so I don't know. The red may sound different from the blue. The color, guys. The color is going to change the sound significantly. But this was the amp that was driving the Immanis, and they've got that little headphone stand thing that goes in the middle. It's it's to deal with the ribbon. You have to change the voltage because the ribbons will blow up if you throw too much at them. And there's the Immanis, the 1995 Raal Immanis, and this was special. I mean, this is clearly the experience of this headphone is you put it on and you're like, this is one of the best headphones in the world. It's it's got a crazy speed. It's got near electrostatic speed, if not electrostatic speed. And this is just listening in a somewhat noisy room, not as bad as the floor. But the Immanis, it was crazy. It had great bass response. I was shocked by that ribbons can deliver that kind of bass. I seriously enjoyed it. I thought it was terrific. It's also 10 grand. Immanis is 10 grand. It's $10,000, boys. It's just a headphone. They are hard to drive. You got to have a major player amp to drive them. You can't just hook them up to something from shit, and it's not it's not going to work. But so you need a serious amp, and I heard that my Woo WA5LE will not drive them. Somebody told me in the room. He said he has a Woo Audio WA5LE Mark II like I have, and he said they could not push the Immanis. They couldn't make them loud enough. So there's that, and I was really impressed by them. I still don't know that I would. Here's the thing that's unusual, right? Now they have 2 different versions of this. They have the Mobius or something, and then they've got the Immanis, and this has got 3 ribbon drivers in the cup, side by side, and it sounded to me like they were emitting sound, like they were almost like, I'm trying to find a pencil or something, Like they were a post that emits sound, like kind of in all directions. This is the sensation. I'm not saying this is what's going on, but this is the sensation to me. It sounds like a post that's emitting sound, like the sound is coming outward from this post, and you've got 3 of them, so they're all kind of like doing this surroundy thing. But because there isn't a diaphragm, these things aren't really pushing much air at all. It's a thin ribbon. So there's not a lot of volume of air being pushed around. So you're getting this like really impressive bass, but there's no impact at all on your head, on your eardrums. You don't feel any of the music. It's just kind of like wafting around you. An incredible stage, really big stage. That was another thing that impressed me about the Immanis. But I think that either it takes some getting used to, or it's just something that I'm not going to like over time. You know, and that's that there's no physicality to the music at all. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's spatially fantastic, but I don't get any real impact from these things. And I walked away wondering, like, as good as these sounds, and they sounded fan-frickin-tastic, and people who love them, I totally understand why. I'm just wondering myself and my own preference if I would get either bored, maybe bored might be the wrong word, but if I would just tire of this headphone and its experience too soon for a $10,000 investment. That was my opinion. Still beautiful. It was very jewelry-like. Like you looked at this and the way it was ornated. Well, the one thing that my picture didn't pick up was the reflection on this. This is very brightly polished gold, and it really came across like jewelry when you're holding them and looking at them. There's very ornate little details affixed to the headphone in different spots at the top of the yoke and things like that. Very ornate, beautiful, beautiful headphone. Like they really spent time on design. It's very opulent. It's a very opulent and stately headphone. Like it makes a statement. It's, you know, it brings the bling and it puts it all out there. So in fact, I talked to one person, I can't remember if it was Jonathan or not, but somebody was going to buy them, and he said he actually was going to opt for the silver version because it was a little more toned down. And I understood that. I could see that totally. But what an experience. I'm so glad I finally got to spend some time with a Raal, because I haven't spent time with a Raal headphone since really their first headphone, the one that sat a little bit off the ear and kind of at an angle. And I listened to that and I thought, this is good, but it's like there's not a lot of bass here and I'm going to get tired of it. They definitely have done so much work on ribbon drivers and what the ribbon driver can do and the sound it can produce. Very beautiful. You know, you understand why people just go crazy for these things. I thought it was really good. I thought it was super impressive. One of the best of the day by far. So, and I'm glad I got the experience of actually hearing this. So, yeah, it was Jonathan getting this over. I'm sorry, I'm not really following too close to the chat right now. Now, this was another one. Neil Snyder grabbed me by the arm and said, "You've got to hear this." Michael, you've got to hear this. And he grabbed me by the arm and he pulls me across the show floor and sits me down in front of this IEM. This is the Macbeth. And I can't remember the name of the company that makes it. Did I write it down? I didn't write it down. $4,000. $4,000. I'm going to look it up real quick. Beth, IEM. It's from Forte ears. I could remember, I was like, what was sticking in my head was, the Tia Forte. And that's the 64 audio, one of the first headphones I bought, first IEMs I bought. It was the IEM that launched this show. So Forte stuck in my head, but it's Forte ears that makes this. These are hand built and really bejeweled, very elaborate. It's got a crown on it. It's got a thing. It's called the Macbeth, and there's a sword in it. It's fantastic. I mean, you know, the stories that they build behind some of these are just really entertaining and fun. And the setup on the was like this medieval thing with like cutouts, and he had lights shining through, you know, doing cutouts and shadows on stuff. It was really fun and cool. And this IEM is one of the best I've ever heard. This is fan-frickin-tastic. Deep bass response, really entertaining, and very detailed, but not hyper detailed like the Viking. Smoother, beautiful presentation, but gorgeous deep bass on this thing. Really enjoyed the hell out of these, but this was the site of the day's greatest tragedy for me. Because if you'll notice, I've been taking photos of all this stuff with my Nikon, and as I was going to arrange this headphone to take a photo, I knocked my Nikon off the table, and it landed on the lens. Oops, I did something bad here. I don't know what I did. Hang on a second, boys. Where's my switcher? There it is. Okay. It landed on the lens, and I broke the lens. The lens came apart. Now, this lens connects to a plastic clip inside this thing, and the plastic clip broke. So it won't hold the lens anymore. So I broke this part of my lens, and this is a tilt shift lens. It lets you select the focus plane on the sensor. So I already replaced it. This is the replacement. It's the same. This is called a Composer Pro. It's from Lens Baby. I get no zhuzh from this. I should. I'm going to put up a link to Amazon for anybody who wants to buy one. No, it fits my Nikon, but this unit is separate from the actual physical lens. This is the lens, and it actually fits in here and twists in and holds if the plastic part's not broken. So when I bought the replacement, I actually bought a 35 millimeter so that I can take this 35 out when I need to, and I can sub in the 50 that I normally shoot with, and it fits. See? So these are interchangeable lenses. It's the outer body and this is what broke. But I knocked off the table, broke it, and my day was very sad from that point on. I was very depressed. So I had to go out to my car and pick up my backup lens, which was just a macro, but it was a 110, so I was really far from what I was shooting. But that was the tragedy of the day. I busted my lens. It's a $400 mistake. Oops. When I'm not making any money. Not good, boys. Not good. Wallet hurts. But yeah, so it was the Macbeth was the IEM, and I didn't really go there to audition IEMs. The other one I wanted to hear was from begins with a C. Can't remember the name of it. Drawing a blank. But it's a new Noble Audio IEM, but it was there early in the morning, and the first person who had it put it up, turned up the volume too high, and blew the driver. So their bass driver on their brand new prototype IEM was broken. Boys, it was sad. It was sad. So this was the only IEM that I really listened to all day. Very cool. And then I made is this the last one? Yeah. And then I made one more stop after that because I did want to hear the Empyrean 2. And this was impressive to me. I like my Elite a little more, but there was a ton of bass. I also sensed that this was a really bloomy headphone. There's a lot of bloom going on. Stage was smaller than my Elite. I noted that these were a bit on the bright side. They sounded a little faster. They had a little more speed to them, a little more snap than my Elites, and they had a nice image. So better imaging than Stage, and the same as the Elite. I didn't think that they were an improvement, though, on my Elite, and didn't make me want to run out and buy them. But still, you know, another great headphone from Meze. But if you were playing in the bass lane, that would be the headphone I think you'd want. And then after that, we just kind of hung out, and I didn't do all that much. It was about 4 o'clock, and I was my ears were done for the day, and and the line was still misery at the Warwick Acoustics booth. And it was pretty miserable. So I do have a couple more photos to show. These came from Ken Cass, who's Ken's workshop. And he sent me a couple of photos, and some of these are redundant, but he was at the ZMF area quite a bit, and this is the photo he took of the new Bokeh Open, and then he shot. This was the back of, I don't remember which amp this is. He shot it from the back, but just cool. And there's Zach holding a couple headphones. He was great. I think that's my balding head in the background. Don't mind that. And here's an Atrium, gorgeous Atrium sitting off it looks like an Aegis amp maybe. And then that was the close-up of the KN he shot, which is really nice. And then he brought his Polaroid and he shot this. He was a little shamed by it, but I think it's cool. Good nostalgic little photo. Very similar to this photo that I took. But there you go. That was Ken Cass's contribution. So a really full day for me. God, I've gone for an hour on my recap. So I'm going to I'll go into the chat now, and we'll spend a half an hour going through all these chat notes. I'm sure you guys had stuff to say. And if you haven't, by all means, get your comments in. I'm going to open up some hard stuff too. David Kirshner, cheers. Did anyone see the new ZMF video? No. There's a Director's Garage cameo. Oh, look at me. I'm somebody. Greetings from Manila, Vegan Vicar. Cheers, brother. By the way, these pads on this Apollo are vegan. They're protein leather. Just so you know. Someone listening to you. Whoop, binary feedback. Hey, happy hump day, everyone. Yes, so fun. Kevin Jock, he saw me on the ZMF CanJam video. Looks like the Bokeh Open is something you look forward to. Yes, I think that was if not the highlight. Look, and to be fair, it's the practical headphone of the bunch. Nobody's going to pay $8,000 for, and people will probably get them for less anyway, but nobody's going to pay $8,000 for the Sapphire Unveiled. Nobody should pay $8,000 for the Sapphire Unveiled. That's crazy talking. Crazy talking. So this was a practical, a headphone anybody could buy. Anybody could buy this headphone, and anybody should at least hear this headphone, because it's a great price. It sounds really good. It stands on its own, but it still has major vibes of the. It has major vibes of the what you call it. Sorry, I'm fixing the temperature because it's starting to get really hot and I'm starting to sweat. It's got major vibes of the Atrium, so. Fantastic. Another huge win for Zach. Not a big surprise there, but don't take him for granted, because the guy's doing incredible work. Incredible work. God is watching, Neil Snyder. That's an inside joke. It's related to a Patreon thing. Adnan says, "Hey, Michael, great to see you in Zach's video." Oh, I left out one thing. Hey guys, the B21's back. I was going to do a big reveal. I forgot to tell you guys. The B21's back. Ray Samuels contacted me after last week's live stream, or maybe it was the week before. He said, "Hey, take the B21 home with you. You don't have a solid state amp. I want you to have this for a while." Didn't say how long, and if he calls me in 10 minutes and says, I need you to box it up, I will happily box it up. I have no problem with that. But he told me that he wanted me to take the amp with me to have a solid state amp in the house. And that touched me so much, given where you guys know my story and the financial thing we're going through a little bit. It's not tragic, and we're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. We've got plans and backup plans, and everything's going to be cool. But to see the step up from people in this community, and a guy like Ray who just said, Michael, you don't have an amp, and you need a solid state amp. Take this amp. Take this amp and do your reviews. Yeah. Give me a little teared up. It's unbelievable. So I drove back down on Sunday at the end of the show because I wanted them to have it for the other day. I wanted everybody to hear this amp that could, because it's that good. I believe it's. I think it's probably it's the best solid state amp I've heard, and it happens to do electrostatics in an unbelievable way. So I let it go for the whole day, and I showed up at the last possible minute and braved the LA traffic. But I picked up the amp and my X9000, which apparently they wound up being a demo unit for the whole day. So my X9000 got some hours on them from people who wanted to hear They were connected to the B21, so I picked up my X9000 on the B21, and folks got to hear the electrostatic side of that amp too. But I picked up my headphones that I had brought down, the X9000, and then picked up the amp, and that was so special. So I brought it home, and I was listening to the Carbon because I wanted to refresh my memory of the Carbons. That's a nice headphone, by the way. Ray did me a solid, and I'll be in his debt forever. That was beyond cool. And I've now got a solid state amp here to do some reviews when we get other headphones in, in the coming weeks, hopefully. And I also saw my good friend Rodrigo from Audio 46, and we hung out for a bit. And when I went back down there, I drove him to the airport. So he got a free limo ride, courtesy of the director's garage, to LAX, which was on the way back for me to where I live. So, but I got to spend some time with him. We talked and some of the things that he's excited about and whatever. So, yeah, good to see everybody. And then I had a wonderful dinner, like I said, with Neil, and I got to see all you guys. And a lot of people I hadn't met before just came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, like the show. Hate you, like the show. Yeah, Jonathan I saw all day long. It was really cool. Neil, Hipster Cow. CJ, yeah, saw CJ. Jonathan, what did you buy, Jonathan, that you spent all this money? What did you buy? That was a funny thing on Sunday when I got there. Like, the ZMF was closing down, and everybody was in that room, and they all had headphones, multiple headphones in their hand. Like, last chance to buy something, boys. I would have bought a bouquet clothes. There was a pair of bouquet clothes there that were this purple sort of nebula-looking thing. It was purple and green, sort of stabilized wood. I would have bought those if we had the money, but we didn't. Tommy V, cheers, brother. Hipster Cow. Howdy, gents. Great to meet you all. Adnan. Mean joke, not serious. Will the Carbon 2 come with rattling screws two rattling screws instead of one? You remember I had that one problem. Adnan's like going back into my that's like a couple years old, that one. IMJ, same hipster, good to see you. All right, CanJammin', Michael. I seriously hope you had a great time. I really did. Few things caught my eye. Yeah, Bouquet Open for sure. I thought it was fabulous. Definitely a star of the day, for sure. Carbon 2 was great. Sesfara 2, as much as I hated it, hated to like it, I loved it. I just blew me away. I was so impressed. I didn't want to be. I wanted to hate that headphone more than I could tell you guys. Oh, hey, Tater Chip. Let it rip. Adnan says, according to Jude, largest ever CanJam. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff there. And there was a whole back room that I didn't spend a heck of a lot of time with that had all the Abyss stuff was there and the Woo Audio stuff was there. They were sort of paired up. And that new 24 from Woo was there. It was. I didn't get to hear it though. There was a line all day long. That was one of the lines I couldn't penetrate and didn't feel like sticking through. But it was, that amp was there. A lot of people I talked to said that it was really impressive, and they really liked it. I'll get to hear it at some point, or maybe Jack will send me one. Okay. I am Jay. What did you get? See, we all want to know. I am Jake. Jonathan got the KN Soul 170 HA. Which one's that? Is that that wasn't the one I was looking at, was it? KN. Did I get the I? Yes. Audio. I'm gonna look it up. Let's take a look. Go to it. Ah! Hey, come in. Nope, not that one. Oh, hey. Not what I did. Go back there. Go back there. I'm just going to see if it's in the highlight bar here. Nope. All right, let's look at, I'm guessing it's home audio. Here it is. Oh, this is nice. That's the one I saw. That was the one I was listening to, right? Yeah, you dropped some bucks. Can I click on it? Apparently not. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, this is the one I was listening to. This I thought this was really nice. Very nice headphone amp. Fantastic. Thought it was great. Thought it was great. Congrats. That's an investment, Jonathan. Did anyone get to listen to the HE-1? Look beautiful, though. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. That's better than my photo, for sure. Did anybody... Oh, I lost my place. Anyone get to listen to the HE-1000 Unveiled? I didn't get to listen to it, Dixter. I did listen to the Sesfara Unveiled, and they did good things. I hate to say it, they did good things. I approve. I don't approve of the price. I don't approve of the protection on the ear cups. But I approve of the headphone sound. Fantastic. They did improve it. They improved the Sesfara, and they made it easier to drive. Hey. Jonathan also got the Meze Empyrean 2. Very good. He ordered the 4 years Macbeth. Oh my gosh. You went all in, Jonathan. Woo! That credit card is on fire. Carbon 2 still farts. Yes, it does. It does. Carbon 2 sounded much better than the on the Exonic Energizer. Yeah, I listened to the Dave LTA, and yeah, it's a little too bright for me. Just a little too bright. But I trust that. Knowing how this headphone sounds, I don't think that that's how that headphone ultimately will sound on my rig. Yeah, this 170, yeah, I've listened to that 170 HA. But I think the Carbon 2 is going to be great, and I'm excited that there's an upgrade path and I'll be able to get a pair here to review. That would be great. That'll be fantastic. They did the same trade-in for the LCD-4 to LCD-5. Boy, would that have disappointed some people. Here you've got the bass Canon crazy, like one of the legends of all time, and then you trade it in for a very flat but detailed as hell headphone. I mean, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be like an upgrade, and it's like I don't know, it's like changing from like you're just doing a totally different car. It's like going from a sports car to a luxury car. Like they're just different things. They're radically different. The LCD-5 is detailed and neutral and all these things, and the LCD-4 is like a powerhouse of bass enormity, and it's still got good speed, but it's not like crazy detailed like the LCD-5. They're just different night and day headphones. So I can't imagine somebody who actually took that upgrade and got the thing and they're like, okay, my upgrade to my great LCD-4, and this sounds nothing like the LCD-4. But yeah, and the 4Z was, not, to me, doesn't sound as good. Maybe other people think they sound the same, probably, but the 4Z to me was a downgrade from the 4. JTB, what is the reason it does that? Driver design makes it fart. Yeah, it's something to do with the pressure, the seal that these things make. And so when you put them on your head and there's any kind of movement, these things seal so well that they push the diaphragm that's sitting in between the two stators, which are charged. It sticks a little bit. It just gets there and it makes contact with the stator, and the result is this kind of zap sound that it sounds. They call it a stax fart. But yeah, it's not. Some people call it driver flex. That's another thing you can call it, because the planar is the membrane is catching on the charged stator, because there's two electric. Planar magnetics have two magnetic arrays around a center diaphragm, right? The electrostats do it with electricity. There's electricity on either side, positive, negative charge, and they can repel and attract the diaphragm, the diaphragm between the two stators. And if they go too close to the one, it can actually stick and cause a little arc of thing. It's nothing that'll wreck anything. It's just really loud and really annoying. It was actually like damn near a deal breaker for me when I had the first one. They did fix it with an upgrade, but it's still not perfect. It still does it, just not as bad. But you used to have to wince when you were taking them off because they were going to make a big pop. Mr. Kai, I agree the Exonic Energizer was much better. I didn't hear that setup, though, boys. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I didn't hear that other setup with the Exonic. But not to worry. I heard enough to say this sounds like an improvement. I just don't think the source gear has worked out. LTA is not my first choice for an amp for anybody. It's just I just think it tries to do too much, my personal opinion, but I haven't spent a lot of time with it, and maybe if I got in for a review I would change my mind. But my initial feeling with the LTA is that it does a whole lot of everything but specializes in nothing. You know what I mean? Because it does both. It's like this amp, except this amp was built, the B21, the Raider was built as an electrostatic amp first, and then he realized he had enough room to make it a full-blown dynamic side as well, and so he put one of his great, dynamic driver, dynamic headphone amps, and made it switchable, which is genius. But you're getting two great amps in one chassis. That's the thing, I think the LTA kind of is making some compromises there that maybe I'm not so comfortable with. But maybe I just need to get it. I've only heard them in a show, so I haven't spent a lot of time with it. So maybe it would surprise me in person, in a controlled environment. Maybe it would impress me more. But I kind of take some issues with it, personally. No problem if you enjoy it. Good, happy. Just my personal opinion. Where are you at? LCD 4.2. Yeah, I hope so. What a flagship that would be. Return to the base to the Audeze lineup. Whew. Count me in. Count me in. JTB tried a gimmicky headphone years ago that had this slam and rumble effect with the bass and hated it. It was really annoying. Yeah, I don't think that it's, you know, I think they put that name in there to as a marketing ploy. I like a slammy headphone. I like a headphone that really, you know, gives you that concussive effect. I always describe it as I feel like I'm getting thumped on the back of the head a little bit by the headphone. I love headphones that do that. And it's exciting, it's fun, it's great when you're rocking out. It's even fun to listen to a symphony when things just have this, you know, strong bass. As long as it's not blooming, you know, like got a lot of bloom, a lot of artifact, a lot of echo to it, or, you know, resonance to it, I guess is what I should say. But they were just making the point that they built an electrostatic that has really good bass, and I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to hear it in a controlled environment, not in the show floor. JTB HE-1000 unveiled is Modern Art Michael. Oh my God, I think that is a heinous looking headphone. They literally took a square peg and inserted it into a round hole. That's what I'm saying about the HE-1000 SE. And they kind of did that with the Sapphire too, but at least there's a little bit of style there. They literally took a square peg and shoved it into a round hole with the HE-1000 SE. That is a bad idea. I don't care how good that sounds. I'm not getting behind it. Nephilim says, Audeze, a new flagship. That means he will have a shot at getting a 5. He actually loves that headphone, mid-range galore. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's dead flat. It's if I were mixing on headphones alone, that would be the headphone I would want. You know, as long as I could do it, and it wasn't gonna, you know, the open wasn't gonna hurt me in a control room. But if I was mixing on a headphone, that would be one of the headphones I would most want to mix on, because it's so flat, it's so fast. You just hear everything, and you get it, and it's balanced. You know, so you know when you're pushing bass, you're actually hearing that, and you're not hearing an over-representation of bass, so the under-representation of the bass. The mid-range on the Sapphire as unveiled is better, agree. Across the board, it is a better headphone than my OG. Yeah. Jonathan, I got to agree with you. From what I heard, and it was a show environment, and I always put that asterisk ahead of it, but I wanted to hate that headphone so much. I just wanted them to drop the ball and, like, let me go, yeah, just keep yours. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, boys. I don't have the money anyway. I'm not buying it, and you can't make me. Jarek. Hi, everyone. Hey, Jarek. JTB, covering the drivers on the unveiled makes him... Covering of the drivers on the unveiled makes him a little nervous. Oh, you mean the magnetic, the veil things? They said you can actually listen to the headphone with them on. I got to imagine they sound like ass, but... the HiFiman rep said, well, if you listen to it with the covers on, I said, no, this sounds too good. Don't give me that crap. He has a 5-year-old. Oh, God. Nice. Not shot. Yeah, they're going to take your headphones out for BB gun practice someday. No! Don't shoot my headphones. Damn kids. God. It's so fun, Nicholas. Yeah, it's amazing. Dixter says, okay, how close is the HE-1000 unveiled compared to the Sapphire unveiled? I don't know. I didn't spend time with the HE-1000 unveiled. They were waiting for him, so I just didn't do it. Director offered to shoot Warwick free commercial for the access to the booth. I know, but then I feel bad that I'm like shoving somebody else, you know, out of the... to this day, I don't put my name on the list to hear the HE-1 again when they have when they bring the HE-1 out to these things. I don't do that because I'm like, I got to spend time with the HE1, and there are still people who haven't heard that headphone, and they should. It's you know, it's a landmark, you know, moonshot of a headphone. And everybody should hear this. I always feel like guilty because I've already heard them, and you know, but it was several years ago now. Maybe I should hear them and hear that headphone again. Oops, dropped a charging cable. Shame on me. Warwick says they are working on putting their drivers into a car. Well, if they want to do my Audi, I'll review it. I don't like my stereo on my Audi. I had an old A5, and the A5 had this Bowers & Wilkins 19 speaker sound system. It was fantastic, amazing. This new Audi that I have came with like a 16 speaker Bang & Olufsen. It's terrible. It's like it's such a letdown after having that amazing Bowers & Wilkins setup in my old car. And this car is better outfitted. It's got more stuff on it. It's just I don't know if it didn't get a premium sound or they just changed the manufacturers and they delivered a bad product or what. But I was like, it's just not impressive. The old stereo used to just rock my world. It was so good. But yeah, so if Warwick wants to come out and do my car, you know, I'll review it. I won't give you your speakers back, Warwick, but you can do my car. Adnan says, if you know the right people at the right stores, the unveiled can be had for $6.50. Hint. Some gear, some of them appear in this channel. Don't quote me. Okay, I think we all know who we're talking about. Zach says Zach should initial the inside of the pad so it's easier to keep track of them. I know. That's the thing. Like I have so many pairs of ZMF pads around this, and I bought them all. Like, purchased them. And then he like shames me and goes, "Why don't you just ask me? I'll send them to him." Like, I'm not. You built those. I'm not going to take them from you. What right do I have? I'm just a schmuck on the internet. But I bought it, and I don't know which are which anymore. I'm going to need some expert to come here and forensically identify what every one of my headphone pads are. Zach should keep the initial. Yes, he should. GTV totally lose. Yes, same thing. He loses them left and right, and then you can't match them. They're like socks that come out of the dryer, and one's missing. Where'd it go? Dixon says he wish you could find stores for a good deal. Just try. Just get to know a good vendor, and make sure he's smaller. Don't do something with the major vendors. You know, find a mom and pop store somewhere. I will say Audio 46 is a good place to go. That's my, you know, there's a coupon code, Directors Garage, all one word, blah, 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 blah. But that's a good place to go. But I find some other place. You don't have to go to them. Go, you know, Bloom is a smaller outlet. They're not as big a dealer. I think you know which one I would tell you to avoid. I'm not going to disparage anybody. I just think that they're too big and they have too many different customers, and you lose that personal touch. Not saying not to do anything. I'm just saying, and I'm not naming names, but I would go with a smaller store where they'll actually remember that you were somebody who bought something from them. Obviously, Audio 46 knows me pretty well. I've bought a ton of stuff from them, and they try to help me out when they can. You know, sometimes they can't, and they don't owe me anything. They've been so good to me. I owe them, if anything. JTB, Zach should initially. We did that. I was like 3 behind. So Dixter, just pick a store that's smaller in scope. You know, like an Audio 46, like a Bloom. There's just a couple of places that are smaller. I would not go to like a Music Direct or something like that. They're just massive. They're huge stores, and you'll get lost. But somewhere where you can establish a personal relationship and buy from them for a while. Buy a few things. Even if they're not big things, just buy a few things, and they'll get to know you. And sometimes you'll get a call saying, "Yo, dude, I know you want a pair of this. They did this with the Apollo. Audio 46 emailed me and said, hey, you know, we got the Apollo in if you want them, if you want to buy them. And I said I would normally buy them, but I'm, you know, as you know, I'm unemployed. These came straight from Noble. Noble sent these to me. And I was very clear about that. And when I unbox them, I'll be clear about that when I do the review on them. But it was the kindness of them. But, you know, they contacted me because they're like, hey, we know you like this. We know you wanted this. It's just them knowing me personally. And they all think that that's a headphone that I would like. And no surprise, I actually like these. I think they're great. A lot of fun. But stay with it. You know, you can get discounts. You just got to work a little bit. Adnan says he didn't buy. He got the offer. Spent way too much already in the last 2 months. Just call and say I have blank dollars and you want Y. Offer me something with a full warranty service, brand new sealed. Yeah, I don't fear about open boxes. I'm like, open boxes to me it's a sale item. Great. Fantastic. Just make sure you can return them if you don't, you know, if something goes wrong or if you don't like them. That grill makes you cross your eyes, makes your eyes cross. I think we're talking about the Immanis probably. That was the grill that I, unless we're talking about the Sapphire. Anyway. And you already know about the director's garage coupon. No comments. I'm just going to skip over this section. You guys read it. Is there another hobby on the planet that has weirder and more confusing names for audio gear and headphones in this hobby? I'm looking at you, HiFiman. Well, how many things are called Molner? MJOLNER. How many Molner products are there? There's Molner Audio. There's Molner products. There's a Molner this and a Molner that. There's a shit Molner. There's why nobody can. They're all like into this Nordic thing for some reason. Everything's Nordic and strange. Yeah, the 170 HA, $7,500. Wow. Jonathan, you really put out there, man. That was awesome. Adnan says, watching these pictures makes us feel like peasants. I felt like peasants listening to it. Gene says 9,400, but who's counting? Yeah, the for the Immanis. CanJam is ear candy. Yes, totally. Gene, ours are delayed a little bit. Magnet and the Immanis. Dixter says CanJam needs to change the color scheme to yellow and black, if you know what I mean. CanJam needs to change the color in black. I'm not quite following that, but I'll just go with it, okay? So those yellow and black are B colors. Gene, no worries here. They'll be here when they arrive. Gene, you got yourself an Immanis, I'm assuming. I think you told me that. CanJam is like walking into Willy Wonka factory of audiophiles. Agreed. It's not a long delay. Headphones are delayed. Our CD transformer had a production issue. Oh, that's for the Immanis. Immanis paired with the CFA3. Ooh, nice. Using the Brooklyn Bridge 2 as the DAC was impeccable. No harshness, punchy, detailed as hell, great timbre. Yeah, I believe that there are, you know, I mean, I was listening on that crazy Viva amp. I mean, that's like a $20,000 amp, that Viva. I mean, it's a tube, it's a giant tube amp. Fantastic. It's pretty good. JTB, best analogy? Willy Wonka's. Juramel says on that chain I mentioned at CanJam there was physicality. It's one of the most speaker-like presentations of a headphone. I agree with that. I think it is very speaker-like. He read very polarizing impressions on the Immanis at CanJam Thread and HeadFi. Well, I mean, I don't deny that this is one of the great things. It's just, for me, like, my personal experience was, God, there's almost no air moving on the inside of this, and it feels like there should be. It's producing so much bass, I feel like I should be getting some physicality to this, and I don't. It's just interesting to me. It's cool, though. Great headphone, no question. 10 grand, though. Rough, rough. Yeah. You heard the combo at CanJam NYC, borrowed a pair from Danny at the show. MJ says, it's got impact. That's Jonathan, by the way. But it's got different presentation than you expect. Deep bass, agreed. Articulate, textured as hell, yes. Throughout the frequency response. Yeah, I'm not referring to the impact of the sound. I'm just saying, like, most headphones that produce that much bass, I feel like a pressure on my ears, like a vibration from the sound waves hitting them, and I just don't feel it it's very strange. It's very quiet inside my head, even though the music is coming. It's interesting. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I don't know if that would be for me, necessarily. We'll see. It's not like I have the money anyway, so it's kind of a moot point, moot argument. But I can hear that, and I just understand immediately what people see in it. It's fantastic. Gene's getting the silver also. Great taste. Yes, Gene, I got that IEM too. Freaking love it. Forte ears makes the Macbeth. Yes, we were up to the Macbeth. And my lens disaster. God. I just lost my place. They tell you up front the Immanis has to be burnt in for 100 hours because the ribbons are tight. And they have to loosen up to get the bass response correct. That makes sense. The logic of that makes sense to me. I don't know how many hours were on this thing. It was a show model, clearly, that I heard. It was really good. I was impressed. Like I said, I just don't have any, it doesn't feel like there's any air moving. It's very strange. Jermel says, also it was great meeting you this past weekend. Sorry for calling you Hank. I met so many people, it's like I don't remember meeting everybody, but called me Hank. Well, it's all good. Adnan says, if I ever get a chance, he'll be wearing a t-shirt saying, so which does metal best? Not here for audiophile music. On that note, Steve Wilson, go there. Nephilim says, Macduff killed Macbeth. So that IEM must be quite the beheading. Neil Snyder says he bought 3 Macbeth. Yes, I remember. And the Hibby R82. The Macbeth was really impressive. I have no problem with that assessment. I think it's brilliant. It's a shame I didn't have a lot of A/B time, because it would have been fun to put that next to the Unique Melody. Their flagship is so good. It's another one that's fantastic. Great headphones, though. The IEMs are doing it so well. It's crazy. Wallet Killer. Hibby R8 is a fantastic DAP. Yep. Oh, boys, I resurrected this one today because I'm starting to do the review of the Apollo, so I'm looking for sources for it. And the KN-N8 is a really good DAP, but I had to mess with this to get it working right again. I had to reinstall the software on it and flash it and stuff, and not in a sexual way. I just flashed the memory. But the tube mode on this N8 with the Apollo, little hint at what's coming, very impressive. It likes the lower power sources. I will also tell you that I tried it on the B21, the Apollo, too much power. It's just, I don't know. It's a very bunched up, crunchy sound. It's just too much for this headphone. That is a powerhouse of an amp, and this is designed for like DAPs and Bluetooth and things like that. It's just you can't, you shouldn't jump. And I assume that the 14.5 millimeter planar that's inside of here comes from the IEM world. I would assume it's probably one of the, if not it's the same, it's based on the 7 Hertz Timeless. Because I took that apart. You'll see it again. I showed you guys, because the ear pads, I figured out how to get them off. It's not fun. It's a little scary to do, but you do it. No such thing as slashing down the prices. Adnan says you really should not be allowed to buy the unveiled, regardless of however Michael offers even $20K regarding the lens. Wait a second, I missed this. Michael, you really should not be allowed to buy the unveiled, regardless of price, I'm guessing. However, Michael offers even $20K regarding the lens. I'm missing this. I'm missing what you're saying. But yes, I broke the lens. I did not break the camera, thank God. The camera's fine. I broke, but it was the mount, this little plastic ring inside, busted, and yeah, I busted this. Anyway, last couple, guys, I gotta get going. Mrs. Director's in the house. Mrs. Director came down with me on Sunday. So anybody that was there on Sunday got to meet my wife. She took the drive with me, spent time with me. Nice lady. I married her. Yeah, it wasn't the body out, it was just the lens. Hipster Cow says wanted to try the DAP but never got around to it. Way too much else to do and see. Oh yeah, totally. The RS8 and the R8 II are great DAPs. I like that name thing. I was impressed with that. I would love to hear the RS8. That's the Eversolo you're talking about, right? Is that what we're talking about here? Anyway. Hipster, so great you got to go. I heard there's gonna be a KN-C9 too. Nice. Sucker for R2R is Jonathan. Me too. Also want to try the LTA Aero DAC. It's a tube R2R DAC. Wow. How many of those are out there? Or you could be like Neil, and you could put a tube, buy a whole tube unit to put in the chain and give it that tubey sound. KN-C9 II with the KN-RU7 is a nice setup. That would be a DAP with the RU7 as the DAC. Hipster Cow says, tried the Aero DAC out Nephilim, thought it was fantastic. Fantastically wide, but hard to judge in that environment. Yeah, tough. He's so green with envy, he's looking like the Hulk, because Barry's in the South. He didn't get to go to CanJam. Nephilim says, thanks for letting me know that, hip friend. Neil, it was great meeting you and your son. Neil brought his son, yes. Hopefully we can get him in the hangover hangouts. Dixter says the RU7 is a resistor ladder DAC. Yes. No, I should say yes, like I'm going to take your word for it because I don't know that personally. The RU6 is R2R, and the C9 and the C9 II is the portable tube amp. Thank you for keeping, you guys got to keep me up on some, because you start throwing around just the letters, and I'm like, are we talking about this? Are we talking about that? Anyway, Nephilim says, my goodness, you better believe God is watching. Look at Ray Samuels. God lives through that man. His unbelievable generosity, kindness, tons of intelligence. Sounds like God to me. I can't say enough great things about Ray. And the thing that I sent him a note over the weekend, it was a personal note, but one of the things I told him in the note was he has given... And granted, he's made a living doing this, and he's made a living and has set himself up for retirement. But I also told him that I think we all owe him a debt of gratitude and appreciation for the work he's done to deliver high-end products to the community. You know, he's stuck with this smaller community when, you know, a lot of people branch out, they do other things. And he came back for one last hurrah, an amp that he dreamed about making and had no idea if he'd sell any of them because, you know, his name's out of the mainstream. Thank God there are people like me and other folks like Neil who will get out there and champion what this guy's done and how much we should honor what he's done. I've thought his products have been the stuff of legend since I got into the hobby. I always dreamed of one day owning a Dark Star, and I'm this close to getting one, and it just has slipped through my fingers. But it's a dream amp for me. It's like it's a goal amp. Some people, you know, the Zeus was another one that people just loved that amp and wanted it. It was like. And understandable, you know, it's one of those icons. It's an amp you want to own. A liquid fire is another, just like amazing Cavalli amp. You know, Cavalli's another name like Ray that's up there in the echelon. She's just done legendary things, you know. Great stuff. Great stuff. Much love to Ray. Barry says he could not go to CanJam, so he bought a DDC Singzer SU6. Now, if someone can tell me how to set the I2S switches for my Den of Frips 12th musician, oh boy, I don't even know all these things are. So somebody chime in, help Barry out, guys. The new Apero had pretty bad Stax farts. Still the best headphone he's ever heard. You couldn't touch the cups. That was this headphone, especially the first version of this headphone. This headphone still has them, but not that bad. Interesting to note, though, from somebody who didn't get to hear the Apero because it was at the end of a very long line again, and I missed it. Second year in a row. So mad. I want the Cone of Silence, boys. I want the Cone of Silence experience. I want to have the fun that guy was having in the room. Denied. The new Apero had... oh, yeah, we did that. Neil also bought an Apollo Noble for his son. I saw that. Giving him his HM1 as well. Oh, my God. Now, that's a generous dad. HM1 is overkill, man. Amazing stuff. Nephilim, Neil, wow, Father of the Year for sure, really kind. Oh yeah, that HM1 is a great amp. I wish it had a little more power, but it's the cleanest sounding, one of the cleanest sounding amps. So is the Mass Kobo. That guy didn't make eye contact with me. He didn't like my review, I don't think. I didn't say it was bad, boys. I just said there were things that I saw that maybe I liked a little better. What headphones are going to use with the HM1? Saw a photo of a guy wearing the subwoofer headphones. I saw somebody trying on it. I guess that was at the headphones.com table. They had the big Mickey Mouse ear looking things. I guess that's what that was. Or was that the one that was at the Deconi booth? There was something at the Deconi booth that was kind of a wacky little contraption, too. MJ Unveiled sounded horrible with the covers on. Not good. I would think so. That's called the Closeback HiFiman Special. Hipster cow. Bought the Apero Golden Sound. 38 monthly payments of $1,200. That's like rent for some people. I don't know, man. I don't know. 38 grand for that thing. That's crazy. Nephilim says he's really starting to love Neil. He buys half of CanJam and then goes out for a steak dinner. That's living like a boss. Omero Graso. Hi, everyone. Finally made it. It's pretty late here in Munich. Hey, cheers, Homero. Neil says years ago he had a girlfriend who used to offer open box sales. You walked me into that one. I'm walking away from it. Yeah, Gil says, just wondering if Aun had a booth at the show. I didn't see it, but I wasn't looking for it. There was nothing that was on my agenda for them. Neil says the Ambition cable from Elitech was designed to go to the Forte. Guess how much? It was $4,000, I think, right? Wasn't that a $4,000 cable to go with the $4,000 headphone? Got to slay a few dragons to get the princess. Neil, don't tell me you got the Ambition cable too. Did you do it, Neil? Did you do it? Fess up, my friend. Sounded marvelous with the Ambition cable. He's thinking he's going to pass on the Ambition. Matthew Hilty, $10. Thanks, buddy. Super chat. Woohoo! Thanks for the talk with me at CanJam. He liked the Susvara unveil also, unfortunately. Hey, cheers, Matthew. Thanks for pulling my ear. Great time. I talked to a lot of folks there, man. Good times. Really good times. Quinn the Eskimo. Highlights for him were the Macbeth 64 audio solo. I didn't spend time with the 64 audio cable. And the KN Soul 170, which he bought immediately. I thought that was a fantastic sounding amp. One of the best tube amps I've heard. For sure. Hi, Michael. Better to be low gain at almost maximum volume or medium gain and halfway through the dial? Well, it depends on the amp, depends on the product, depends on the headphone. Generally, I try to keep as low gain as possible because gain increases noise. But sometimes the noise is so little on an amp that you can get away with medium gain and it's no big deal. It also depends if you have a Class A or Class B amp. If it's a Class A amp, it's putting out full power anyway. You can have it wide open and you're not stressing anything because it's pushing out all of that voltage no matter what, and the rheostat, the volume pot, is controlling it. If you are using a Class AB amp, you're increasing power as you increase volume. So if you have it wide open, you're really pushing all the components to their max. Might not sound as good. Might want to push a little gain and pull the volume back. Just depends on the amp. It's going to depend on the situation. And use your ears. Your ears will tell you what do you prefer. You'll be able to hear what's working and what's not working. Leonid says if you had to put the Carbon 2 into a tier list, what ranking would it have? I couldn't do it yet because, first of all, that wasn't the final version. I wouldn't, and I was listening in a show environment, which is very noisy. It's not fair for me to do any kind of assessment like that. So, but I liked what I heard. I thought it was a great start. And for that, out of the gate, it's pretty impressive. And I liked it so much that I put myself on the list to get these upgraded. So I put my money where my mouth is. It's going to cost me $1,000, which is a heck of a lot cheaper than the $6,000 they want for that headphone. But I can't give you any kind of meaningful assessment yet. It's just one listen at a show. It's not great. Though that is a great way to spend money. Oh, Quinn, lucky you have bought a $7,500 item on a whim. Though that is a great way to spend money. $7,500 any type whatsoever. Item of any type whatsoever. Yeah. Talk about that Cayin. And that's, I heard it. I thought it was great. I thought it really impressed me. Very nice sounding tube. Like I said, one of the better I've heard. You'd have to A/B it to get a great assessment of it, but it's without question a great. Cayin makes great products. There's my complaint about this isn't the sound. My complaint about this is the buttons. Everything about this is fantastic. The buttons on I know they knew they did something wrong because they fixed it on the N8 version 2. These are so big and so easy to turn. You're constantly changing tracks by mistake. And there's no hold button on this. You can't tell it to ignore your inputs. So if you just brush this thing, it throws it to the next track. So but Cayin, the sound on this is one of the best DAPs I've heard. It's really good. If I could support Ray Samuels by buying one of his amps, I'd do it immediately. Price, no object kind of thing. Got to start saving again. Yeah, we all do. I'm a little ways off from buying the B21, but as soon as I can, I'm sending him a check. That's a prime target for me. It does so much, and it solves so many problems of this show. To have a neutral, powerful, gorgeous sounding amp that happens to do electrostats and dynamics both. It's for a review show. Fantastic. What a great amp to have as a base. Matthew, thanks again for the Starbucks money, my friend. Although I don't go to Starbucks, I'm going to take Mrs. Director out for pizza. And Grand Sean, Sean Grand, what did you say? Got the Noble headphones and love them. The bass, very bassy in a great way. Yes, it is. Hip-hop, classical sound, awesome. I was just listening to some hip-hop today on these. I listened to the Eminem album. So good. He also used the volume booster on his phone, and it makes them sound even better with no distortion. I don't know how you're doing that. How are you doing that, Sean? Just give us a quick little note. I would note that these things are really loud for a Bluetooth headphone. They're impressive. They're much louder than the Batiste and certainly the IO12. Impressive amount of volume out of these, and in just the, and then you can get more out of them if you hook them up to an amp, and you can cable them, as we discussed. Top of the show. Go watch the top of the show if you haven't. Homero says he wants to build an Aegis. That would be a fun project. I mean, the nice thing about what Zach did is he's got all that machining. I mean, it was just amazing what he did with it. So clever. So beautiful. Quinn the Eskimo, Christian, it was like definitely punching himself in the face. I love that, man. That's a great description. Cheers. Neil, no ambition for him. He didn't get the cable. Nephilim, join us for dinner next year. I love that. So fun. Done deal. We got to get him out here. We got to get him out here. So good. Matthew says, yep, that Carbon 2 wasn't final. Yeah. Shout out to Cord for fixing his Hugo 2 for free. Should get that back soon. I tried to get my Hugo 1 serviced. I had the basic small Hugo 1. I tried to get it serviced, and they wouldn't. They had to replace the board, and they said it's going to cost as much as the unit. So I just bought Hugo 2. Bummer. Nephilim's got to go to CanJam. Really wish these events were in his own backyard, if you will. Yes. Michael, it's a Burson Soloist 3X. Thanks. What did I miss? I missed something, I think. Oh, yeah. Well, the Soloist you can push. The Soloist is Class AB, I think. So you're probably better off keeping it in a mid gain and or keeping it low gain. No, putting it in a mid gain and keeping the volume a little lower. Find something in the middle. The middle is usually the sweet spot on most amps anyway, but when you get it to Class A, it's making all the power anyway. All you're doing is letting it out. I think the Soloist is Class AB, so you're going to be fine boosting the gain a little bit, keep that volume more in the middle. That would be my advice, but do what sounds best. Check them both out and go with what sounds best. CanJams are awesome. Last couple guys, I gotta go. I'm 2 hours into this thing, and Mrs. Director's going to want to walk. CanJams are awesome. There's so much gear to try and so many people to chat with. Yeah, I met a bunch of you guys. If I didn't mention you by name, guys, I appreciated everybody who came up to me. Took a couple of selfies here and there with people, which was kind of funny because I'm like, this face, but whatever. Hysterical. As I tell people, I have a face for radio, which is why I'm on YouTube. But I really did enjoy it and enjoyed seeing everybody again. It was such a good day. Great time connecting with folks. Neil, really great friend of mine now. All you guys just had such a great time hanging out. Hipster Cow, Jonathan, you guys really made the day much more enjoyable than if I was there on my own. And got to hear some good stuff. That was what it was about. Nephilim says, couldn't agree more on the B21 is such an incredible, ideal bass line. Absolutely. Matthew says, portable Quest style Hugo 2 sounded great, really surprised him. And that Hugo 3's got to be around the corner, so interesting. So what a hump day. Yeah, we did. We saw a lot of stuff, guys. We saw a lot of... and the unfortunate thing is I gave away half of the next episode, but I'll have more production value with it, and it'll be shorter, more concise, and pithy. Because we like being pithy. Want to thank you guys for stopping by today. Make sure you recycle. Tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out. That's the thumbs up on the video, and if you can, and appreciate the donations, guys. That was very charming. You guys don't have to do that on this show. That's not why we're here. We are here to just have fun, hang out, connect. That's what this is about. And I really enjoyed seeing so many faces this weekend and hearing some great gear. And I picked up, Ray sent me home with this to have around the house for a bit longer. We'll keep that in the rotation. But thank you guys so much for stopping by today. And new episode next week. I still haven't finished writing the CanJam episode, so it'll be a minute. I'm not rushing that one out, but it'll be a good time. Thanks everybody. Cheers. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you before you know it.
Happy hour, people. Let's hang out and get wasted at the director's garage. Oh yes, it's time to get juiced.